Hi everyone, welcome to Room and Board and Crowdfunding Countdown, where we take a look at every single board game campaign finishing up in the next week. I am here, I am excited to talk about some of these games and then less enthused that you're making me talk about the other ones. But first, I do want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor of this video, IntotheAM. IntotheAM, well, they didn't reach out to me to sponsor. I reached out to them to sponsor because legitimately I'm wearing one of their shirts right now, and I will showcase their other shirts as I talk through this, because I have them off here to the side, and literally I just wanted some more shirts, and their quality of material is just like really soft. And I wanted more basic tees. I had a lot of graphic tees, and I felt I was getting a little overwhelmed on graphic tees. Change. Oh, that's nice. I hadn't put this one on yet. That's kind of nice. Yeah, I was getting a little bit overwhelmed on their graphic tees, and I then decided I wanted to buy some basic ones. And since they had worked with me in the past, I reached out and I said, hey, you want to give it another try? Send me some free shirts and I'll talk about how much I like them. And they said yes, which is great, because I legitimately was going to be purchasing these shirts, and cheapy old me decided to use my influence over the world to try and get some new shirts. So I'm really happy to make this as an ad for them, because legitimately I was just going to purchase them anyway. And I hate purchasing shirts. I do. Change. Yeah, it's kind of nice. Kind of a little purpley blue. Okay. I've really been liking them. I was wearing this one in the Zombicide one, and maybe I'll put it on again, depending on how long I talk about them. Anyway, I don't want to talk your ear off. I really don't, because I want to get to the episode. And more importantly, to the patron thanks, who I love you more than any t-shirt ever, except maybe this one, a plain black t-shirt. What does that tell you? No, of course. But legitimately, like, I hate buying shirts. I think it's so annoying, and then you never get the right fit too, right? I feel like in the wash they then shrink, and then like your stomach is getting exposed, and that's fine for me since I play board games all day, my abs are chiseled. But you know, sometimes on a very off day they might not be, and yeah, no, but these just like they feel like really comfy. You know, it's a good length. It's not too bad. I got mediums for all of them. I got some larges in the like whites or whatever, but I got some mediums for all of them. I really like their basic colors. I'm so impressed with the actual feel and quality. And I also wanted to talk about my discount code, which still works. It's Slippery Jim to save 10% off anything. And that's an annoying code, because they usually will say, hey, that just disappeared. But when you try to leave, they'll be like, wait, come back, we'll give you 15% off. But I think those two can combine. And also, if you just click the link down below, they'll see that I'm directing you to it. And then, I don't know, tell them, hey, give Ruben Board 15% off so that you can track his sales better. Because I'm not going to push you getting less off. Like, that's just stupid. But what is great, and what I often go to, is I just go to the sale, and I go to the clearance items, and then you can get an additional 10% off the clearance. So that's what it works, and I just kind of like shop through there. But you can get like three of their basic tees. Oh, they had Henleys? I didn't know they had Henleys. You got to make this ad a success so that I can try and get some Henleys. That's kind of cool. They do a lot of skulls and stuff with their graphic tees. Basics, that's what I want to look at. Yeah, their basic tee you can usually get like 3 for $50 is their style. And so I got the Heather Mauve. I've gotten the Heather Maroon before. This is the Mauve. Anyway, that's it. You know, I've spent enough time talking about them. They've earned their ad. I guess I'm in black. Basic black, baby, for the video. But yeah, I do just want to give them a shout out. You can use my code SlipperyJim. God, it makes me so happy just to be able to say that. For 10% off if you're interested, and like legitimately, I was going to buy them. The quality is great. The feel is really soft. And that's for both their graphic and their basics. The graphics have also like done really well when being put in the dryer. So check it out if you want. That's IntotheAM. 10% off using the code SlipperyJim. Oh, so slippery. Who said that? Saving that money. But more importantly than that, I also want to give a huge shout out to my patrons, my newest patrons. We got a bunch of new patrons this week, and I'm blown away. I'm so honored every week. Thank you so much to Eric, Vicky, Heidi, Lisa. An additional thank you for Andrea and Scott for upping your pledge and going the full year tier. That's incredibly generous. And an even triple thank you to Carl for changing his payment card, I think, so I got another notification about it. You get another shout out, Carl. You cracked the code. But yeah, thank you to everybody who signs up for Patreon, and whether you're there for, a month, a year, the rest of your lives. I used that joke just now. I now have a welcome message that says the same joke, so don't judge me on that. I just am really appreciative. It is absolutely not necessary. I appreciate everybody who watches and comments, but I do want to specifically give you all a shout out and say thank you legitimately rather than thank you illegitimately, which coincidentally is, I think, how I was born. But yeah, thank you so much. It really means the world. It is truly an honor when anybody makes that step. So that's enough of that. Let's get on with the week, and we are starting off with not IntotheAM. You've had your time in the sun. We're starting off with Galactic Renaissance as Renee destroys everything around here. We're going back to Galactic Renaissance, and I'm going to click on this rulebook right away, and I'm going to lose my mind and probably have a personal vendetta against Madagot Games if this rulebook is not fixed by now. How to play. Okay, passed the test. I was worried because I do know some people who work for Madagot Games, and I'm actually like a fan of them, and I would have had to just really destroy all of my relationships with them if this rulebook hadn't come up. So this is interesting. This rulebook is not great, but it's telling me a little bit more, which is exciting. As you add cards to your deck and as you add cards to your basically hand, most of them are going to have a play another card symbol. So you're going to be getting to do a bunch of chaining as you go along. If you missed last week, Galactic Era is basically this area control style game. It does remind me of Inish, and that makes sense because it's by the same designer, where you're going to have your own people, and there's going to be a bunch of different planets in the board, which it's not going to show me. You don't need the 5th player expansion, guaranteed. There's going to be a bunch of these little planets in the board, and you're going to go to them, and you can teleport there by the symbols showing on the side, whatever is sort of highlighted. You can teleport. Yeah, that's the correct term. The words teleported right out of my mouth as I was saying them. You can teleport. Yeah, I'm not changing it back. Teleport is very good. It's not as good as Grumple as a middle name. Keep that in mind, anyone who's might be expecting. But teleport is pretty good too. Or teleblart. Oh, teleblart. Wait, there he is. Oh, it's been a while since we saw Blart on this channel. So you can teleblart yourself from a blue symbol to a blue symbol, and that's how they're kind of all connected. That's it. When there's too many people who've teleblarted themselves there, then a disorder is going to happen. There's going to be some disorder that you're going to have to resolve the disorder right here, which is basically kicking people off of the planet and putting your own people on it. It's a good one. You're going to want to do that. And also should tell you that the setup and the component breakdown is like 8 of the 11 pages of the rulebook. Basically, it's removing or moving stuff around, but it starts with the active player, which I think is interesting. Makes it maybe a little bit less exciting for me because you're going to have to sacrifice your own self first. If you like drop 5 people onto a planet and then you got to kick one of yours out and everybody else has to kick one of theirs out too, that seems exciting. And so you have to keep, this is interesting, because you have to get 30 points to win. So you have to get 20 points over the course of the game by scoring those objectives. And then finally, to win, you have to trigger a 10-point swing. So if you get more than 20, it says you got to go back to the 20. So once you've hit there, you're in the end game ready progression. And those victory scoring conditions are going to be appearing over time. This is what intrigues me about the game, is those scoring conditions and how you're going to activate them and when you are. And I feel like that might build a sort of palpable tension around the game. And honestly, I mean, we kind of covered this. It's 75 euros or 112 Canadian, then plus shipping. It's going to be expensive. You could probably have as good an experience with Inish because Inish is really fun. However, it feels like they have unlocked a good amount of stuff here. So if this at all feels interesting to you, I would take a look at this. Shipping is like expensive, right? It's gonna be 100 euros. It's gonna be like 150 Canadian. That's too much. You can tell I've been hanging around too many 5 reasons you shouldn't back, and I was just even considering that wasn't too much, but it is. Anyway, I wanted to revisit that because they didn't have the rulebook, and that kind of answers a few things from last week, but I covered it last week, so we're not talking about it anymore. That finishes tomorrow at 9:56 a.m. if you're watching this the day that this comes out. Moving along, also finishing tomorrow, 2D6 Dungeon, a classic dungeon crawler solo player game, which was shouted out by a viewer in the comments. Thank you for pointing this out to me, and I'm excited to check this out. This is a print and play, roll and write dungeon crawler. I see, you know what? I see what you did there. You suckered me in by saying there was free shipping, and it's free shipping because it's a print and play. Don't see I didn't notice what you did there. I was very excited at the prospect of free shipping, and you know what? I'm still excited. This is the most comprehensive rulebook I've ever seen for a roll and write. The aim of 2D6 Dungeon is to complete 10 levels of the dungeon. 10 times through one level doesn't count. That's cool. Completing a dungeon level may take a number of tries. You'll probably have to leave the dungeon and return with better equipment, so there's a bit of a grind to be able to face the harder creatures of the deeper level. Rarely does an adventurer complete all 10 levels in one outing. That's good to know, though. And that's really neat. You kind of roll for the size of the room as you're playing, and then that will determine sort of what can be in there. Print and play, yeah, it's not free shipping. If it's the non-print and play, £10. But yeah, print and play for £6, $11 Canadian for something that feels like really comprehensive. You're going to build out your big character. You've got all these. If you like going through and if you like D&D, honestly, you should check this out. I feel like this, in its essence, is something that you would want to like sit down, have your own solo adventure. It does seem exciting. I'm very happy for it having been pointed out to me. I'm sorry, can I zoom in on this? Can I zoom in at all? Graxata the core. That looks like Maggie's evil stepsister or stepmother, who isn't that evil, is actually kind of sweet when you get to know her, but he has that little mischievous side. You think that she's evil, and then you see her face, and then you find the true beautiful heart that's inside. That's her getting up to some mischief. Coincidentally, this is also how Renee looks every morning when she gets out of bed.
Only because I get to look at you. Oh my god.
Not wrong. Not wrong. Yeah, I think as a print and play, like, this feels so comprehensive. You can go on Board Game Geek and kind of scroll through it. I kind of stopped at page 23, but this is all just, you know, intricacies of how you deal with the monsters, how you exist in the system. If you like RPGs and you don't get to do many RPGs, honestly, I feel like this really will scratch that dungeon crawling realm. If anybody out there happened to have strong opinions on dungeon crawling and what makes a true dungeon crawl, well, I think this would fit the bill. Cool. Yeah, that also finishes tomorrow at 5 p.m. Thank you for pointing that out. Just quickly, we're going to look at 2040, An American Insurgency by Compass Games. I don't really cover a lot of Compass Games stuff because it all feels the same and it's all kind of big war games. But I do love that Compass Games is really accurately predicting. If you want to discover what Civil War would be like in the modern U.S., well, wait less than 20 years and you'll find out, because as the way our society is going, we're pretty sure it's going to collapse by then. And I just thought that was very funny. You know, a long time ago, 2040 seemed a long way off, and now it doesn't seem that far off. And I agree we'll probably all be living in some version of the Purge or the other by then. If you like war games, you know Compass Games, and you're probably buying everything. For me, I don't look into them anymore because I think they're too complicated for my dumb little idiot pea brain. Moving along, just quickly, this hasn't funded, but I wanted to give it a shout out because this bills itself as a hilarious party game to hot seat your friends. Original rated R. And you know what this means. It's probably a funny card game. Let's check it out together. Let's get deep. Okay, this isn't funny at all. You said it was a hilarious party game, but it's really just like, hey, should we get to know each other with some icebreakers? Yep. That's not hilarious. Or if it is, what sort of parties have you been to? What sort of interactions have you been having before this? Is this what takes it to hilarity? Actually opening up and asking questions about someone? Wild card, everyone compliments the person. Yeah, you should just compliment people, because it's nice to compliment people and it's nice to receive compliments. There's nothing hilarious about getting compliments. Well, there's something hilarious about me getting compliments, but that's just different because I'm so self-deprecating. It's just zany and wild. But other than that, I think it's nice to give compliments. Just be nice to each other. This isn't, I mean, there was one where it said, do you find me attractive? that's gotcha. I think it's not hilarious. I think you need to bill it as an icebreaker game, because that's what it is. It's an icebreaker game. And I saw in that 1 minute of the video that I watched, I saw no R-rated content, which for a wicked bad boy like me, I was sorely disappointed. I'll be taking that off of my internet bookmarks. You want to see some R-rated content? Too bad, I just cut it from the show. Use code SlipperyJim to get 10% off on your IntotheAM order. All right, let's move on. That was disappointing. But for all of those out there, you're lovely. You're a lovely person. You know why? You know how I know this? Because you're playing board games and you're interested in board games and you like me. That's how I know it. When you frame it like that, it's like really self-absorbed. I'm sure one of you out there is a bad person, but the rest of you are probably really good. So, all right, let's move on to Forge. This one has backed. This one has funded. Oh, I was looking for the conversion because I'm always used to things not being in Canadian. Forge, develop your smithy. Forge your victory. Let's check it out. I do have to pause right here, though. And I like how they're like, do you get it? Do you get it? Are they forged their will upon the world? Do you see? That's the name of our game. Do you see it? Do you see what we did? Do you see what we did up there? And I appreciate it. And I want you to feel seen and recognized. Yeah, also a really bad series to talk about compliments when usually all I do is be a friggin' grouch. But it's because I care about your money and I think you deserve to spend your money on great stuff and have great experiences and have your life be filled with joy. That's why I do it. Fundamental. What did they do recently? Oh, the Make 100. Okay, yeah. And Roll or Die. Yeah, I remember that. They've done a lot of print and place. And by a lot, I mean definitely 2. Okay, this one looks exciting. I'm actually pretty excited about this. How much is it going to be? Oh, no, dang it. I was hoping this would be the deal this century. It's $75 Canadian, which is like, 60 US, 55 US. But it looks good. I do like this. I like this. A fully detailed rulebook is available. If you wish to see exactly how this game is played, see below this section, and then a little how to play section. You're speaking my language, Forge. I just wish it were just like, I wish you were 60 Canadian, just from what I've seen. I love this too. Good summaries in the rulebook. I gotta say, I played Lords of Vala, Dragon Ball Lords of Vala. I'm excited for it to get here to Canada. I played it. I did a gameplay over when I was filming in Cleveland. And that has got to be one of the worst rule books I've ever read in my life. I don't know. I guess I don't know how it changed. Like, it did change. Like, things did change, but they just cut out all of, like, the actual good rules, and then they just included a big glossary where you need to find things in the glossary that, like, they don't tell you about. They don't tell you how they work, and then they're sorted alphabetically, like, in a nonsense order. This is lovely. This is a good rulebook so far. Yeah. This looks really neat, though. I think this looks fun. So the basic premise, let me see if there's better pictures up here. It's just going to be very simple worker placement and contract fulfillment. But there's a few more things. So up here, you got forest, mountains, mines. Only certain people can go there. You get a certain amount of resources. You then can get contracts, which are laid out here of what you want to build. And then over here, you can develop and train with different guilds, which will give you special powers. You can also upgrade your workers into better workers that when you place them somewhere, you get bonuses, but it costs you something to upgrade them. That's the outlying thing. If you like worker placement, check this one out legitimately. It's just very simple contract fulfillment. It seems like a nice, solid cube pusher. I'm getting holotype vibes in that. I know I still need to review holotype, and I will. But I'm getting holotype vibes in that I think this is going to be one of those sorts of diamonds in the rough that will be just solid and relaxing and fun. So 24 Canadian, so $100 to get this game. That's unfortunate because, again, it feels like a $60 game, right? Like, I also talk about these games and I get excited about them and I hype them up, and then we also have to compare them to existing games on the market, and there are a lot of very solid worker placements. Like, this feels like a Lords of Waterdeep, maybe a little bit elevated with the upgrading of your workers, but the fact that it feels that way, you could just get Lords of Waterdeep for, 50% of it. That's something that you really should consider. But this does look really nice. I like these upgrades that are going to happen, these special abilities that you can do, and yeah, seems really solid. I'm thrilled that it's over its funding goal. I think these 296 people are going to really enjoy it. So check that out if you're interested. That finishes Thursday, April 13th at 10 p.m. This is one of those where I was like, this is probably going to be horrible. Just, if you look at the funding goal and you look at the sort of main page, I wasn't drawn in at all. I just clicked on it because I clicked on it, but looks actually very nice, solid, relaxing. You're pushing for your hammers to get for you to drop the hammer as early as possible up top as well. So multiple ways to score points, multiple ways to race towards things. I think it's just going to be nice, easy, light, solid, and the rulebook emphasizes that. So check that out. Finishes Thursday, April 13th at 10 p.m. Moving along, also finishing at 10 p.m., this by Grand Gamers Guild, Tir Na Nog, Between Worlds. All right, I don't know how long that was muted for. I think probably the entire segment for this, so I'm going to go over this again. But basically, let me get back to the rulebook. Oh yeah, I can use these as... Here's the thing. Here's how this works. You're going to be placing all your stuff down as the first player. Actually, this graphic doesn't represent what the rulebook says, because the rulebook says you're going to place down all of your people, unless I read it wrong the first time and I was muted, and you don't have to see my shame. Everyone, starting with the first player, plays a storyteller in the space between two encounters in the other world. You're just drafting cards, right? Like, that's all it is. And then, starting with the player to the right of the first player, proceeding counterclockwise, select an encounter card and place an encounter card into your saga with a little thing that you're touching. And so what that is it seems like it's interesting. It seems like the first player puts out their thing and then they still have to balance because it's the last person who doesn't get a chance to lay claim to these potential cards because they've gone last and everybody else can take it. But basically, if you use the first player, you're like, I want this card. And then everybody else gets a chance to say, nah, we want it instead. And then you say, okay, well, don't worry, I have my backup. And everybody else has already had a chance to say, yeah, we really wanted your backup instead. And so the actual mechanics of it feel a bit weird in terms of why. That's why. Like, why wouldn't you just draft the cards? Why go through this whole extra process, right? I suppose because each card can have 3 to 4 spaces, but if anybody wants the cards in the middle, the last player just gets them, right? And so when you have that weird balance between, oh yeah, if there are good cards that just get drawn to the middle, the last player gets them just guaranteed, that doesn't really feel like there's actually an element of strategy to it. It just feels like there's an element of luck in terms of how these cards were positioned, which makes this a really lightweight game that you don't necessarily need to get for $36 US, $50 Canadian, and then an additional $14 in shipping, right? That just a 24 to Canada. Like, it just doesn't seem that exciting. And if you want something by Grand Gamers Guild that is a tableau builder with cards, well, check out Doors of Aldabas, Doorways of Cartagena, because that, it's a good game. It got a seal of approval on the channel when I did a review. I probably shouldn't have, to be honest. I think I've upped the requirement for seal of approval now, and it probably would be below that. But I think it is good. I think it is solid. I think it is fine. And I think I never really want to grab it off the shelf. And I feel like this is going to actually fall into that exact same category as well. But if you're interested in that, check that out. It finishes the 13th as well at 10 p.m. Moving along, I don't know if I'm going to cover this at all or not. But this is called Inside Out. We might cut this. Game Night in a Box. It's a game night in a box that takes players on an at-home bar crawl with thematic games, drink recipes, and music. And I think this idea kind of sounds interesting, although it's 25 people who've $12.50, so 50 each? That's not bad. To be fair, I can make anything an at-home bar crawl. Pull out my mother's bottle of bourbon. She made it herself. Honestly, cute idea. Not for me. Get a bunch of drinks in a box and a bunch of little activities to do with your friends. You know what? I got a couple activities for you. Go buy Dutch Blitz, and that's all you ever need. But look at this person. They played some bingo, and they had a drink. Pretty fun. You know what else is fun? That 3-player game of Terraforming Mars that I scored 107 points in. I felt pretty good about that. I don't know. That's not a good score. Probably not a good score. It's my best score, though. And I beat Alex Radcliffe, so that's all I care about. All right, let's move on to an actual game. Drums of War. Choose your greatest leader and command your bravest troops into battle. March to crush your enemies in epic fantasy battles. But see, part of this game, and I know this before even looking into it, I know this in my core, is that you have to play the game, but you have to set up all of your other 10 leaders that you didn't pick on the side just watching you. Just looking and knowing that they're not the greatest leader. They can't compare to the greatest leader. They can't compare to the greatest leader. They're certainly not the bravest troops. They'll never be the bravest boy. Anyway, let's see. 19 euros. I like that. Definitely means it's going to be good. 2-player head-to-head card game. You know we love those around here.
So it's just like
Radlands. It's Radlands. It's just like Radlands. So it's just like Radlands. I've never played Radlands. It's probably just like Duel Monsters. I came around. Burn the witch. Rules a quarter down the page, sure. And they've got a Spanish one. Rule book too. That's great. Because it's going to be in both. Oh, I like this. Depending upon your hero that you choose, you have to remove cards from your starting deck. And you can either do so by choice or randomly, depending on the hero. So each hero that you play is going to have a different ability. A passive ability will help you as you play your cards down. And, it's a lane battling system. It's very standard lane battler. But it's honestly intriguing me. Wait, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of a lane battler too, isn't it? I really kind of forgot about that. Well, you have 5 sections. You have 5 spots. Kaiba Boys, arm thingy is anything to go off of. Kaiba Boy. And then you pay for cards by using cards. Yep, makes sense. Attack stat, defense stat, range stat. Smash each other in the face strategically. That's the tagline for this. Shipping, though, is basically doubles the game. That's too bad. Because it's 28 Canadian right now, 19 euros. That's like pretty good. Hey, if you live in Spain, get it. If you live in Spain, I'd get this game. If you live anywhere else, I'm not too sure. It seems fun. Like, as a lane battler goes, I'm actually pretty intrigued. I like the asymmetrical hero abilities. I like kind of how that will adjust your starting deck. But shipping just makes it a little bit too high for what is going to be a simple card game that you can probably find something that will scratch this itch, if not completely, at least by a little bit. But again, check that out if you're interested. It finishes Friday, April 14th at 7 a.m. Moving along to Point City and Deep Dive. From the team that brought you the smash hits, Point Salad, Calico, and Cascadia. I didn't know Flat Out came up with that first, because I know AEG has Point Salad. But Point Salad is really good, so Point City is probably going to be equally great. Point City looks great. It's going to be a get it retail. Don't get it now, obviously, but it's going to be great. All right, Deep Dive, not so much. But Point City looks good. Deep Dive looks like the slightly better version of that Puff and Rush game we talked about last time, and that one was for kids. I don't think it looks interesting at all in terms of a push your luck game. But that's why they're pairing it with Point City, because Point City looks really good. Point City, it's Splendor meets Point Salad. That's exactly what it is, Dwayne from Blackboard Gaming. You're going to be getting these little tiles that will tell you what buildings you want to get. You're going to build those buildings by spending the resources down here, and then it will give you a permanent thing to buy more buildings with. When you draft, though, from the market, if you take 2 resources, 2 buildings are going to replace them. If you take 2 buildings, 2 resources are going to replace them. And that's how that works. Deep Dive is you flip over a tile and you go, I don't want that. You go down lower. You flip over a tile, you go, I don't want that. You go down lower. You flip over a tile, you say, oh, yeah, I want that. You take it, you put it in your hand. That's the game. You don't watch out for predators. No, just don't do it whatsoever. Does it have elements devoted to mitigating your luck? Do I have to read the rulebook now? You better have it. oh, you can take a face-up tile or flip a face-down tile. That's much better than what I was expecting, because you can just take something that someone else has revealed in order to create your sets. Everybody's looking for different sets. You want to have 3 of different colors, 3 of the same colors. You want to create columns and rows, that sort of thing. All right. And you can get more valuable food as you go down. Okay, it's a bit better. It's a bit better than I expected, but still not something I'm, like, would ever be interested in it. Oh, and then he hit me with the rule books. Okay, I gotta do it. Yeah, nothing additionally that I feel like we need to talk about. Oh, and there's only 3 colors. That's why you're making sets of 3, so you can score them. And you're placing them down as you get them, I assume, so you can't rearrange so that your 9 scores for more. It's fine. Neither of these is worth getting a Kickstarter. Like, it's $20 US, and then offering a large discount. We've subsidized over $100,000 in backer shipping in previous campaigns. So, of course, of all of their previous campaigns, that's that number. So 5 created, though. You know, that's pretty good. Shipping, they say it's 16, you pay 9. Still, wait till retail. Like, there's nothing here. There's a couple promo tiles. Who cares? This is absolutely wait till retail, but Point City is going to be awesome. It's going to be incredible, just like Point Salad is incredible. Anyway, if you're interested in that, check it out. It finishes Saturday, April 15th at 12 a.m., so Friday night. Moving along to Dungeon Saga Origins. Thrill your family and friends with an entertaining dungeon crawler full of beautiful miniatures, immersive art, and fast-paced action. That would thrill my family if they weren't kidnapped by bears. Oof, you can already tell this is going to be a big price point. £89, 150 Canadian for that base pledge. Sorry, the legendary pledge, which is the base pledge. I mean, I have no doubt it's good. You know what? Games are good. Is it great? That's the question. Oh, but baby. Oh, wait, I thought that was the rulebook, but it's just the different... They just want to sell to you in your correct language. By Orlaf's giant axe. What was the last one that they did? Was the Umbrella Academy, which was canceled, and then late pledges are open. Oh, because I went over to GameFound? Weird. Oh, right, the Legendary Pledge is... That's confusing. Legendary often means all in, but it's just your base pledge. So you get 40 quests. That's what it's telling you. You get 4 individual quests in there. Rulebook is like 3/4 down the page. Like, clearly, like any dungeon crawler, it's preying upon you saying, I think I like dungeon crawlers. I like throwing dice. I like minis. I'm backing. Right? That's basically what it's telling you when it's 3/4 down the page. Short rulebook, though. 25. I mean, here's the thing. You can get this dungeon crawler, though, or you can get that dungeon crawler and just write it down and probably be able to get it to the table more because it's solo. Nobody wants to learn a big dungeon crawler rulebook. And you can get that for $11 Canadian, or you can get this for 15 times that. Because you love plastic. You plastic addict. You platicked. Teleport all that plastic out of here. This is also 1 versus all, which it should emphasize in more ways than just a campaign page. I mean, just a campaign video. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It looks like a standard dungeon crawler. You have damage. You have different types of monsters. You have some traps that can happen. You have specific rules for arcs and targeting and rolling dice and negating damage. You know, you gotta always roll 2 dice. So then if they have to lose dice, well, then they lose armor instead, right? I say that, so you know I read through at least that sentence on the rulebook. It's very standard. There's nothing in it that really jumps out to me. But then again, I don't know how I feel about dungeon crawls, like straight dungeon crawlers, because it feels like a lot of work, honestly. It's not really my vibe, but shipping's okay. Well, I mean, it's in pounds, so it's expensive. But you know it's going to be a big box, so shipping seems reasonable for the big box. It'd be £99, like 160 or 170 Canadian to get it to your door. And there's just nothing here, at least for me, that justifies that extra price point when you could get so many other great games for that price point. That being said, if you love dungeon crawlers and you want all the minis, these mini sculpts look really fun. They do. This company has a decent track record of 23 games. Well, 22, because Umbrella Academy. No, it succeeded, right? 23. So if it's worth it to you, I understand. You get a few campaign quests and whatever in the legendary pledge, but for me, it's not it. Like Shelby DePaul in Love is Blind 4. It's not it. It's not good enough for you. That finishes Saturday, April 15th at 10:01 a.m. Moving along to Woodland Wizards, a 2 to 6 player card battle between small animal wizards with easy to learn rules, no setup time, and awesome artwork. I clicked on this. I don't think this is going to be any good. I think the artwork is going to be fantastic, and I think it's going to be play a card, do a thing, like every other, or like many other Kickstarter get-rich card games that are out there, you know? Oh, that was the explanation up there. Yeah, you play a card face up, and you boost it with other cards in your hand. That's it. These cards are random, and it's probably $25. €13, 20 Canadian. That's decent. That's great for cute art. Honestly, that's the good price. What's the shipping? €10. So $25. Yeah, I was right. 25 US, 30 something or other Canadian, 35 Canadian for a card game that the art looks cool, but I don't really care about that, just like I don't really care about art books, honestly. I care about gameplay, and this doesn't give me any interesting decisions, it seems, from what it's offered on the campaign page. But if you like the art, there you go. Check it out. That finishes Saturday, April 15th at 2 p.m. Moving along, back over to GameFound. We're close to the end here. We have something that I don't have for games that don't look fun, and that is Tolerace. Asymmetrical set collection. I'm curious why it means it says asymmetrical set collection with variable player goals. Okay, that's what it means. Let's just actually do our research, and then let's talk instead of hypothesizing. Rulebook right at the top. Way to go, Tolerace. And this actually looks kind of interesting. I like trick taking, as you know. This might be too much. It might be overwhelming and too many things to consider and too many things to keep track. Or it might just be the right amount of, look what happened. Ooh, that's fun. Because basically what happens is on the standard one, everybody has a different character. On the baby version, everybody has the same character, and your goals are going to be different. So you're going to want to be collecting different things depending upon your goals. And then also every card that you play, once you collect that trick, there's always going to be an effect that is enacted. And so you have to calculate, do I want to take this trick? Do I want the results of this trick to impact me? And that whole premise just sounds really exciting to me. And then the advanced version is hide your role, so you don't know what everybody else wants. That's cool. I even like this aspect of choosing the starting player. If you have the least victory points, you can choose who starts, because in trick-taking game, it's going to be beneficial probably to go last. Yeah, that reads exactly how it says it's going to read. That's kind of exciting. I think I really like this. Tolerace. Well, all of our 5 small box games. Cool. This is €23. €23, like $25 US-ish, 34 Canadian. When we compare, I mean, we still have to look at shipping. Shipping is 7 to the EU, 10 to USA, anywhere else 20 or 27. Dang. I mean, like, that's too much for what it is. But I really like the concept of this. I think that's a really neat way to talk about trick-taking and forcing the cards and forcing powers to happen, and being mindful of, even though if you're winning the trick, it may not be that beneficial if you cannot get the full usage of everyone's actions. You still get to take the actions of all the highest ranked people first before the lowest ranked people, which I assume are going to be the bad ones because you have a chance to mitigate it. But still, yeah, this looks really cool. Really cool. Very surprised about this one. If you like trick-taking games and you live in the EU or the US, maybe it's worth it to you. Still on the higher end, but really unique. So check this one out. It finishes the 15th at 2:23 p.m. Moving along to Food Coma, a hilarious elimination card game for 2 to 6 players. It's a big take that card game. The art seems fun. But you want to put everybody else into a food coma. You make meals for them. You draw from 3 different decks. You make meals. You stuff it into other people's faces. Kind of like my mother does whenever I come home. My mom might like this one. She says, "Are you hungry?" As she's stuffing an entire turkey down my mouth. I'm like, "Oh." She's like, "It's Easter dinner. You'll ruin my entire weekend if you don't eat this full ham." And then she, cuts a hole in my throat and stuffs it in there and stitches me up right quick. I just wish she would have gone for the stomach, honestly. Just put it right in there. But, what are mothers for? Anyway, this card, this game, it's a big no. But that's fine for us because now we know what it is. Moving along to a roll and write. We like roll and writes. 1-page expedition. Explore unknown lands in this beautiful roll and write game. Choose wisely your camp locations to win in this print and play board game. So it looks, just judging by this card, like it is a ripoff of Castles of Burgundy, which honestly is probably not a bad thing. Oh, I did it again. I need to stop muting myself. I probably didn't talk about this, but I'm going back because it does look good. This is one-page expedition. Basically, you're going to roll 2 dice, and they're going to be assigned to a sector. So if you roll a 6, they'll be assigned in between the A and the F sector. And then in between the A and the F sectors, you can choose to put one little pip down, the goal being to take control over the regions. The person who has the most pips around that region, you're doing it with colored pencils, wins. Seems very simple. You get 3 map packs with it. I'm going through this quickly because it's the second time I've talked about this, but I think it looks really neat. And it's €3 or $5 Canadian for a print and play. The only thing that does feel a bit weird to me is that you can't put camps anywhere in the sector. You can only put it next to currently explored. So that seems a bit odd to me, that you have to build out in that way. But I'm willing to, give it the benefit of the doubt, or you can just play what is going to be clearly my better way, because it's a print and play how you want. Anyway, I think that looks really solid, very simple, and print and play, great price point. I like talking about print and plays because I know you all enjoy print and plays. You have made many comments like that in the comments, and I'm happy to point them out. So check that out. The finish is Tuesday, April 18th at 1:01 p.m. And now we're moving along to maybe the end, or maybe not, as we go on to my precious, the single card game. Steal the ring and keep it in your possession for several turns in a row. So it's just grabbing a card and running off down the street and saying, I'm winning game night. And then everybody else says, no, we won game night because we knew that you were going to be too competitive about this. And that's how we were able to get you out of the house and lock the door. Honestly, probably an instaback depending upon your friend group. I didn't expect that my descriptor was actually going to be pretty close to being correct. That's not a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing for me. It's a good thing for comedy, but it's not a good thing for the actual game. Like, it's just hold on to the ring for 2 turns, and you're like, oh, do you want it? Oh, no, you can't have it. And you can apparently use abilities, and the fact that it's a card, yeah. It's a game of dexterity, not force. We recommend holding the ring on the line marked on the card without applying force. Otherwise, you might damage the card or it might break into pieces during a steal action. We recommend printing more than 1 copy of the card. Yeah, because people are going to crumple the card and you're not even going to have a game. And it's not even a game. Oh my God, no, we're done talking about this. We're finished. That was ridiculous. It's a ridiculous choice. And I think RAR Games is the same people who brought you the kaiju one, if I'm remembering correctly. It is. Kaikoro. You've just gone downhill from there, I gotta say. Kaikoro was your stroke of genius, and it's just why would anybody ever want to play this game ever? Like, why? I don't understand. But if you understand, finishes Tuesday, April 18th at 1:01 p.m. Doesn't matter. That's it. That's it for the week. It was not a good one. That's not true. Was it a good one? No, there's legitimately a pick for me and a pick for you. So that's actually positive because some rounds there isn't, right? So that is positive. I don't always say that. Sometimes I say there's no pick for you. The pick for you is play your own games. I mean, the pick for you is always play your own games. I don't know if this would be good enough to warrant dethroning games in your collection, as always. But there is a pick for me and a pick for you, and I'm feeling pretty good about these. The pick for me is one that I'm actually excited about. It's Forge. The pick for me is Forge. I think it's going to look like a simple cube pusher worker placement. This is one that I'd be very interested to try. I think it would be definitely enjoyable. I don't think it would blow me away, but I think I would enjoy it, and I think it would be calming and relaxing, and I think there's more to this than meets the eye. And so, yeah, it's kind of exciting. It's an exciting little one. I wish it was cheaper, and I'm not going to get it because I think it's a $60 game and it would cost me $100. I still think it's interesting. Yeah, Forge I think looks nice. It looks really nice. I think it should be doing better than this funding goal represents. Again, I'm glad that it's raised more than the bare minimum, but like honestly, way better than Woodland Wizards. I don't care. So Forge is definitely my pick for me. And then my pick for you, it's tough. I mean, let's be real. Point City is also kind of a pick for me, but it's retail. I think the pick for you is Galactic Renaissance. I think it is. I think you don't often see €75 pledges. I think this could easily have marketed itself as a $100 pledge, and people probably would have pulled the trigger on it just from the designer and like the relationship with Inish. It hasn't raised $1 bajillion, but I think the amount of stuff that you get here, it might justify that extra shipping. It's expensive shipping though, so like take this with a grain of salt depending on where you are. And I think this could be an interesting game, but I also think that it could just be Inish. You know what? Let's go to 401 Games, even though they never got back to me about, giving me money. And I mean, it's sold out, but if it wasn't, that's $84 Canadian versus $150 Canadian after shipping. You could just get Inish, and Inish is good. And I don't necessarily think that Galactic Renaissance is going to be any better, but I think it will be fun. And I think that in terms of Kickstarter, you're getting chunky plastic and you're getting additional little ads. It's not the worst thing in the world. And it's what we've got if I want to make a pick for you. So that's it. That's it for the week. Thank you so much for being here as the sun has gone down over the course of this video's filming. I appreciate you all. As always, let me know what's up. Let me know what's up. What's up? Let me know what's up. Let me know what's up. Let me know what you're backing recently, what you're interested in. Honestly, you're all saving your money for Elder Scrolls and or Zombicide, and I get it. I do. So, yeah, we'll cover those probably next week. I think they're both probably finishing next week, or maybe one and the other. Who knows? But for this week, we're done. Yeah, drop your comments below. I like hearing from you. Thanks again, everybody, for watching, subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I think it's still something like 50%, but those people don't make it to here, so kind of preaching to the converted right now. But anyway, I just appreciate you being here, being part of the community. We hit 10K over the last couple days. We hit 10K, 10,000 subscribers on the channel, which is such an amazing milestone. And so I just filmed my my top 20 games of all time, and that will be coming out maybe not this week because there's some review coverage that's sort of time sensitive that's coming out this week. Maybe the week after. I don't know. Look for it upcoming. I just need to edit it and figure out a time that makes sense without, dumping a bajillion videos on you in 1 week and then realizing, oh no, that took me so long to make. I have no time. I need to make more. But I'm very excited, and I just am really grateful to everybody who subscribes, watches, and of course my patrons. You're all incredible. And so just want to say a really heartfelt thank you. This is an incredible milestone, and I just feel so grateful and so happy that I get to continue to do this sort of stuff. So, episode 85 of Crowdfunding Countdown, 15 more, and we get to 100. I'll see y'all there. Thanks for watching. My name's Chris George, and you know what? I still don't have a damn catchphrase, and right now it's just getting. Now it's getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll try to find one very soon.